Singapore Smash fans, for your finalists tonight, let's count it down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1!
Introducing your first player from China, KUAI Man! And her opponent from China, your world #1, SUN Yingsha!
So who will roar in the Lion City tonight? Shasha is bringing her show to her adoring fans. We've given you the best seat in the house, and we have something truly special here. Still 24 years young, Shasha, with 13 WTT titles to her name in singles, comes here. The scene of a triumph 2 years ago at 22, but she knows she is taking on somebody who has taken this event by storm. KUAI Man celebrated her birthday earlier this week. She is on course for a triple crown as well. What a setup in a best-of-7 final that could well go all the way. That's what we're looking ahead to here in a wonderful matchup fitting of a finale. Fraser Riley is with me. Quick look at the tail of the table here. How excited are you about this, Fraser?
Great to be with you, John. Hello to all of you around the world. I am buzzing for finals day here at the Singapore Smash. And what a matchup we have. Could the third time be the champ for KUAI Man against SUN Yingsha? Could she win a triple crown and her first women's singles Smash title?
Ingrid Bogrens in the chair. Nico Zorn is working with her on this women's singles final.
Red or black? Red, black for SUN. Black, winner of the toss, SUN. Receive. You have serve, this side.
So we looked at that head-to-head in WTT encounters, and it's a 2-love position at the moment. First time, of course, was a 3-love victory. That coming here at the Singapore Smash back in 2022. And then it was a somewhat closer affair when last they met at the China Smash more recently in Beijing, Fraser.
Yeah, KUAI Man getting better and better though, as we saw. And what's fascinating in this encounter that we've got to come here is that it will be the first time that they will face in a best-of-7. SUN Yingsha, the champion there of the China Smash. Will she win the Singapore Smash for the second time?
Both of those defeats for KUAI Man coming at the hands of SUN Yingsha in the round of 32, but it's a measure of how far the youngster has gone. But you can't rule out SUN Yingsha. Of course you can't. She's been sublime, even extending into a semi-final where she was pushed by Wang Yidi. She finds a way, doesn't she?
She certainly does. When the going gets tough, she gets going. It was such a tough test there against Wang Yidi, who saved match points to force a juice in the decider scenario. Before that, as you can see, she hadn't even dropped a game.
And when you look at this narrative, it's probably too early to talk about a changing of the guard, but what we might be looking at is maybe a crack in the windshield here. Should KUAI Man inflict a defeat on SUN Yingsha? Should she do what Shasha did, but do it a year earlier in terms of winning a single Smash title? Well, that would only just cement the belief that she is about to disrupt, that she could do something really special at the top of the women's game. What's going to happen if she was to win this for you?
Well, I wouldn't be hugely surprised as we see her run through here. You know, it's so difficult to dominate as a player in table tennis for such a long period of time. That's why when you see the likes of Chen Meng and Ma Long, what they've done winning 2 Olympic singles titles, it's just mind-blowing. It's something that we've never seen before. And now I feel as though Wang Chuqin and SUN Yingsha are overdue a bit of serious competition.
On the screen at the same time, what they will hold and what they would win as well in terms of the material benefits of success, of triumph here in this singles final. That's the head-to-head. Just going back to what we showed you just now in terms of KUAI Man's progress here, knocks out defending champion, gets past the former world #1, gets past Chen Xingtong. That's why she gets as much as 44% of the fan vote for those who've been to worldtabletennis.com.
Yeah, thank you everybody for getting involved. Please do as well for our men's singles final later on. What an evening it's going to be. Let's get ready to rumble.
First game, KUAI to serve, love all.
First cheer, first point, and that came shortly after the first resounding jiayo from the fans here in the Infinity Arena for SUN Yingsha. And that's a factor in this, isn't it, Fraser? As fabulous as she's been, this 21-year-old KUAI Man.
Absolutely.
This is a final. She's in front of this arena, this occasion. She has to play that, doesn't she, as much as the world #1.
Absolutely, John. This is, for sure, the biggest match of KUAI Man's career so far. How much is the experience going to be a factor here? The additional experience that the 24-year-old SUN Yingsha has had in these kind of matches.
And how much will that be part of her game plan? SUN Yingsha, as she looks to take the early advantage here. And that'll give the young woman some heart and some belief, and it's not as if she needs that, given what she's done here.
This is what she's been so good at, staying close to the table, switching the direction of play. A flat hit there, down the line on the pivot. KUAI Man is an old head on young shoulders. She's so good at anticipating where the ball's going to come.
1-4.
But Xiaoxia just knows when to step up. She's been here so many times. She spoke about just resting well last night, being properly prepared. And you can be sure she is.
Amazing. I mean, it was good pressure from KUAI Man, who was relentless with her attacking shots. But this compact shot down the line, abbreviated a little bit more because of the lack of time that she had, was impeccable.
Just wondering about the approach from KUAI Man here, because she's been full tilt, full bore throughout this one. And that extended to her encounter with Chen Xingtong, but she just had a little lapse in that one.
Yeah, you wonder whether that was because she was so close to achieving a landmark victory there against the world #4. Here, could she relish in the ecstasy of combat? She's reached the final. She wasn't expected to do that by a world ranking. World #15, KUAI Man.
And remember, of course, they're coming face to face in a final here in Singapore for the second time, because they did come up against one another in women's doubles action. And what happened there?
Yeah, KUAI Man won it with Wang Man-yu, helping make the Triple Crown possible for this prodigy.
Let 1-7.
She's got some work to do. It's cut out for her very early on in this one.
Yeah, we'll expect to see this continue here, but SUN looking remarkably composed here. Not increasing the pace of the ball when out of position, because then it'll be too easy for KUAI to redirect wide. Did well there, SUN, despite losing the point.
But now she's getting into a groove, and that's the KUAI Man we've seen so much of this week here in Singapore.
So seamless. Such a silky, spinny ball cross table. Very relaxed there with the forearm and the wrist. Gliding about.
We've had a couple of interesting conversations about the very nature of form, whereas SUN Yingsha is just consistently almost perfect. Relatively, KUAI Man's played above herself this week. So now the ultimate test between the two.
how much is personality gonna play into this as well? I mean, both very impassive, don't want to give too much away to the opponent, but I feel like Xia a bit more of a rock star. She's got a bit more bubbling under the surface when she plays, a bit more fire in her belly, and she's channeling it well here.
Yeah, made a really good start here, and also that's 6 of the last 8 points now for Xia.
4-9.
It's a good point you make about personality. KUAI Man's been the centre of attention, you know, birthday cakes and attention lavished on her, understandably. Trophies presented to her as well. She's had to cope with all of that and now focus on, as you said, the biggest match, singles-wise, of her career.
Nine, 5.
Nice set up point here. Let's have a look at this service. Maybe had a little bit of topspin, or at least not much underspin. Xia popped it up, and KUAI Man comes right through the back of the ball with a forehand flick. Got to time it to perfection. And she did.
9, 6.
And if ever you want an indicator of what the fans of Xia might be thinking, it's when they find their voice and they get behind her as they are now, because that's 2 excellent points for her opponent.
It's crazy good. The touch was so dainty, and that step around was murderous from KUAI Man. And that's the best forehand we've seen so far in this game.
And that's a little run of points
9.
now that's got a within a couple.
SUN couldn't recover again. KUAI Man testing the irregular transition with that receive and then recovery shot. Xia got him first.
Xia so quick.
10.
Took her out of her comfort zone there, and there was no coming back for KUAI Man.
The momentum was building, but the nervousness wasn't. She broke the pattern there by going wide.
3 game points on the KUAI serve.
Ten, 8.
Again, she goes long with the serve. KUAI Man. But Xia serving to take out the first game.
11,
And she does. It's in the bag. She's off to the start she would have wanted. But there were indications in that game, Fraser, that this one could turn out to be very, very closely contested.
100%, John. It was a bit of a late flourish there from KUAI Man. She nods her head as if to say, yeah, played better, but shakes it as if to say, I need a better start here in the second game.
Of course, it's a Chinese player against a Chinese player. There'll be no coaches, and therefore no perceived bias. Team China watches on as 2 of their own, 2 of their finest, and 2 have been the best 2 women's players on show here in Singapore this week. Do battle. Everyone wants a seat here, and we give you a great seat. Thank you very much for being with us wherever you're watching this. Hope you're enjoying the start of this as much as we are. SUN Yingsha, world number 1, has taken out the first game and serves at the start of the second.
Level. One, love.
Well, it's a great start from SUN Yingsha. It's interesting, in all 3 now of their meetings, the first game has been 1-11-8. We'll get into how these players perform the later the game goes. It would take something special from KUAI Man to even send
Left.
Xia the distance.
1 love. One all.
She'll celebrate that as well she might, KUAI Man, because the reach was fabulous here to her left on the forehand. Great reflexes.
And it's clever again. Not best placed. SUN Yingsha had gained that advantageous position at the table. And in a reactive state, KUAI Man keeping things relaxed, not trying to play too powerfully.
1 2.
That's the danger zone there, though. A couple of times now where SUN Yingsha has injected a bit of pace cross table when KUAI Man has played her backhand down the line.
Two all.
But it's tighter at the start of this one. She got off to a flyer, SUN Yingsha, in the first. Deafening noise in the Infinity Arena already.
Left.
Yeah, wherever
2
you are around the
all.
world, we highly recommend you come and watch table tennis live. I mean, our broadcasting team do an incredible job, but of course, if you can, get involved. 4 smashes this year.
2
Oh, 4
3.
grand smashes, that's right, with the United States, Europe and China still to come this very special World Table Tennis 2025.
Left. 2 3.
Levels things up. Just wondering about the aura that surrounds SUN Yingsha. If you are from Team China and you come out to play, of course you see her. You're with her very, very often in camp and elsewhere. There must be that intimidating factor that KUAI Man's going to have to deal with here, because SUN Yingsha is throwing what she throws at her opponents already at her here.
Absolutely right, John. I mean,
4.
SUN Yingsha has such an imperious record, even against her own teammates, nearly 70%. KUAI Man has a 78% record actually against teammates, but a much smaller sample size than SUN Yingsha, of course.
You know, it's interesting, she loses the point, but we've seen a long-ish serve again from KUAI Man, and that's been seemingly a go-to. That was something that we saw last time they met.
It can work well, but obviously the long serve needs that surprise factor because of, you know, the impending doom of the SUN Yingsha attack on the other side of the net. Most serves you will see are short to half long, just to create a little bit of indecision
4.
in the receive game. I think KUAI Man's serving long so that she won't have as big of a juxtaposition to make if SUN keeps it tight initially and then goes long with conviction. But if KUAI Man is going to serve long, she has to get ready to attack, because Xia is not going to push a long serve unless she's very surprised.
5 all.
It's leveled again. If you're just joining us here, it's the women's singles final here at Singapore Smash 2025. SUN Yingsha, world #1, looking to pick up a second Singapore Smash
Ladies.
title. Took out the first game, but it's been tight in the second.
Six.
Holding the
5.
table well here, KUAI Man.
Yeah, and she's nudged in front a couple of times now in this second.
You can see she surprised Xia with the serve, and the rest was history. Nice spin, controlled over the ball, good posture, nice and low. Well constructed point. And again, it started with that long serve that you were touching upon there, John.
Changed it up this time,
All.
as she has to. But that's the beauty of Xia, isn't it? She comes back at you with so much.
She's become wiser and wiser. It takes a lot of maturity when you have as much power as she does to not always be tempted to try and hit the ball past your opponent. She's become more tactically tactile in recent years under the watchful eye of Marlin and Cho Yika, her personal coach.
There you are. And, you know, she's only 24, Fraser. All this talk about, you know, young wannabe pretenders, changing of the guard. She's going to be around doing what she can do as long as she can. And I spoke to Adam about this the other day, and he said her ambition is just to play the best she can every time she goes out to that table.
And I think that's a really good mindset to have when you have so much pressure on your shoulders, representing a team like China in table tennis. Odds of that, 1 in a million. So just focusing on what you can do instead of what could happen is always going to be advantageous. Already a world champion, 2-time Olympic finalist, gold medalist in mixed doubles. It's incredible.
8-7.
Now we see the KUAI Man backhand coming into play.
Play, please.
Has to make these minor adjustments because you do see a lot of backhand-to-backhand rallies, but players try and protect the middle, their crossover section with the backhand to save time.
7.
Again, the
9.
serve. Given a little bit of oomph there, and that has given her a 2-point advantage as she prepares to receive. 6 of the last 8 points have gone for the younger woman here. She was always behind the 8 ball there. Xia dominating the point to close to 1.
Yeah, textbook play. She gave KUAI Man a taste of her own medicine with the long serve. Testing that recovery. Nobody home on that last one. Beautiful finish.
But that was expertly positioned, asking too much of SUN Yingsha. And with that, KUAI Man has 2 game points to level things up in the final.
Well, her eyes lit up there, KUAI Man. Perhaps that blinded her slightly. Let's see this. Another long serve, bottle challenge style. Such a deep, arcing and spinny ball. Created a little bit of hesitation there.
Another game point. Does she go for it again?
She does.
11-9.
Another long serve.
KUAI.
It's worked, and it's got her all square in the final here. KUAI Man is on the board.
Great awareness there from KUAI Man. That time to the middle. SUN Yingsha's feet were planted, perhaps expecting it into the backhand. So clever, so wise.
Yeah, did she second guess? That's an interesting topic for us to pick up in just a moment. But it's 1-1 now. So KUAI Man takes the second game to level things up, 1 apiece here. We'll be looking at placement and winners, but it was the serve that caught the eye, in particular, the long serve into SUN Yingsha, Fraser.
Yeah, don't be mistaken, those red dots on the table aren't just winners from attacks, but that service.
Third game.
It's a game plan, isn't it? And she's sticking to it. Let's see what she does as we start the third.
Speaking of the long serve, I'm going to mention a player that many players and fans will know, Hannah Godder, the princess of Egyptian table tennis, who KUAI Man had to beat in a narrow match, actually, en route to the final here. She was using long serves a lot in a match that you and I commentated in Chongqing against Chen Meng. And there's something to be said for playing serves quite often long. Because the Chinese, and I know this is an all-Chinese clash here, are better at most players in every single aspect of the game. So by sending the ball long, you're preventing the possibility of them outing you in the touch play. Maybe KUAI Man feels like that.
Only one problem. KUAI Man's up against SUN Yingsha here, and there's no one better at observing, assimilating, and reacting. And she'll do that. She takes a lead at the start of this third game.
Yeah. There's no one as dismissive. There's no one able to put the ball away so seemingly easily than SUN Yingsha in the women's game. Nice fade there.
Yeah, efficient on her own serve. Picking up those 2 points, 4 love, so it's 4 down now for KUAI Man. How about that? Back off the table, backhand. SUN Yingsha has just lifted her game a notch. That's what she's about. Goes the other way, goes inside to out on the forehand, and reminds us what she's all about.
Showing another string to her bow there with that reverse pendulum serve, giving SUN Yingsha something to think about on receive there. See if she uses that throughout this, but now serves back with the world number 1.
And she doesn't come back from that, Shasha. KUAI Man had to work hard, but wins the point.
She finds an unthinkable angle off this ball here. Wow. Look how relaxed KUAI Man is. Doesn't panic for a second there.
Unthinkable. Maybe it's what you have to do to beat SUN Yingsha.
I think so. How quickly she recovers here to play a second forehand. SUN Yingsha is actually showing her defensive acumen here, getting back these balls that you may not expect, but amazing.
She stirred up the fans, KUAI Man, with those 2 points. And when I say the fans, I mean the SUN Yingsha fans, of course, who have been noisily in support of their favourite.
That was the chance. The reverse set it up nicely. The wide ball beckoned, but KUAI Man just went wrong here off this one.
Wasn't far away, and her reaction told you that. Don't think she'd do anything differently. It's a serve that SUN Yingsha is very familiar with now, but she's still got to deal with it.
Well, it's not like it's a long topspin serve that Sun could counter. It's a quick serve, it's deep, and it requires a lot of physicality. You have to come up the back of the ball because there's backspin on it, and you have to transfer your weight forwards. Ooh, here.
Here's a moment, yellow card for delaying to SUN Yingsha.
I've seen Ingrid Bergman pull out a few for the same reason in other matches.
7-4.
How about the crowd's part in this? A murmur and a mutter on the awarding of the yellow, followed by that outpouring of emotion when the next point goes to SUN Yingsha. And another for a 4-point lead. That's how you come back.
She has to be clever, she has to be crafty. She doesn't show where she's going to go too early there, Sun. And KUAI, as good as she is, the 21-year-old at reading the game, was hesitant. She didn't know where Sun was going to go. The beauty lies in the simplicity with that SUN Yingsha probing backhand.
5, 8.
You want to see a probing backhand? Have a look at that from KUAI Man.
Yeah, that was marvellous. See if that can be a bit of a confidence booster for her.
Just got caught there
5.
because SUN Yingsha was alert to the danger and fired a return.
Well, does that receive tell KUAI Man that the long serve is becoming a little bit more redundant now? We shall find out.
9, 6.
SUN Yingsha sprawled across the table, needs to give it a wipe.
Yeah, just kisses that net on the way over.
She's still well positioned. And even better now at 10-6. Xia with 4 game points.
Oh, she steps into this ball with some style and panache after sniffing out the attackable opportunity. Brilliant point construction, and the fans are delighted.
7,
But again,
10.
the serve fired into Xia, who in truth did well to get it back the way she did.
The most aggressive combination possible to save game point there.
But she can't save another, and it's
Sun.
the #1 in the world who moves back in front in this absorbing final of the Singapore Smash 2025, to the delight of her fans. And as they take a break, what happens next? Second, 25 or so. I wouldn't say she's got KUAI Man in a spin, but she's in control, leading by 2 games to 1. And the beauty of this is that Xia's having to produce some of her best play here against a young, hungry opponent. And a final that so far has delivered pretty much everything we'd hoped for.
Sun to serve. Love all.
KUAI Man is certainly bringing out the best in SUN Yingsha here so far.
The beauty of that was that she didn't rush into proceedings there. Wasn't hurried, held back, and takes the reward for it. SUN Yingsha, that's experience on show.
As a left-handed player and as someone who I'd say offers more variation than Wang Yidi, it's a different type of test here, physically and psychologically, for SUN Yingsha. And so far, she's playing well, I would say.
1, 2.
And she's not bad either. SUN Yingsha, they're absolutely dismissing a backhand. Finding an angle. Anything you can do. Both both players realizing they're going to have to pull out the A game here pretty much every time they step up to the table.
Pinpoint precision there with that backhand. Very clean winner. And in the mid-region of the table, within the parameters, SUN Yingsha is looking a league above here. KUAI Man is going to have to take a leaf out of the world number one's book and look to create acute angles as soon as she can. Oh, that's brilliant.
Moved across the backhand there to provide something a little bit different, Fraser, didn't she?
She did. No telling where she was going to go. Good recovery out the middle. Xia testing irregular transitions, but this last one here couldn't have been played any better. Even came across the ball slightly as well. They're all watching this one.
Look and learn. But what's wonderful about this is that they are slugging it out. Trading points.
Well, KUAI Man tried to serve it in a little bit more centrally there, but SUN didn't seem to be too bothered. Top edges the racket, just mistimes that, the lefty.
Is she beginning to feel the heat? Because SUN Yingsha is absolutely challenging her.
Let 5-3.
To produce something spectacular. Just about every time.
Immeasurable. The pace, the power, the prowess from SUN. That forehand down the line from KUAI Man could have been a point ender. Somehow, the world number one managers to come up with a recipe.
And a much needed point there. Keeps her within 2. Just when things were beginning to look difficult for KUAI Man.
Nice touch play, and she wraps actually right around the ball with that looping forehand to create a lot of problems for SUN Yingsha on that block.
Now what on the service? You might say that with that long serve now not as much a part of the game, SUN Yingsha is able to dominate her opponent more.
Yeah, she's just not fazed by KUAI Man's attacking approach once it blossoms out of the serve-receive game. KUAI Man has made adjustments, but SUN able to adapt in the blink of an eye.
And this is a power play from the world number one. Make no mistake about it. 6 points out the last 8. The receive looking deadly, and now she serves. And while she hasn't got her opponent on the ropes or on the run, she looks to have got her slightly rattled.
Yeah, growing desperate here. KUAI Man bites her lip, but still nodding her head, trying to take positives from this where she can.
She has to save 6 game points here or go 3-1 down.
5-10.
Gives herself a little slap on the cheek there, baby Buddha. A perfectionist.
But no need to administer any more self-punishment because she has now put herself in a commanding position in this Singapore Smash 2025 women's singles final. SUN Yingsha is turning it on, turning up the heat here in sunny tropical Singapore. And she is moving into a position from which her fans can begin dreaming of a second Singapore Smash title for Xia. 11-5 in the fourth, and that's the strongest game we've seen so far. Worrying signs for KUAI Man here. Roll of Honor champions over the last 6 months, and look out there for Xia, highlighted there, of course, a champions level, Smash level 2, with that smash, her second individual single smash following the one she won in Singapore. KUAI Man, a winner and a contender in Muscat, and someone who has absolutely caught the eye here in Singapore.
Time.
But right now, at the final hurdle, it looks like she's going to struggle to get over it, Fraser.
It may be a little bit too much too soon. We were getting excited about this match here. It's delivered in terms of the quality, and SUN has taken it up a gear from what we've seen in the previous rounds, as she's needed to, against this prestigious talent.
And a prestigious trophy
Fifth
in the
game,
hands of one of these
white to
players.
serve, level.
But when? How soon? Xia can get this done with one more game. Will she, as she faces KUAI Man?
Love, one.
So much has come back to the serve. What was delivered from KUAI Man and what has been sent back at her latterly from SUN Yingsha, which has defined this match.
Let, love, one.
Yeah, I think when the pace has been constant, we've really gotten to see an opportunity where, KUAI Man is just so smooth, silky with her attacking play, but SUN, with her experience, is doing a better job at keeping the rhythm unpredictable, constantly breaking patterns, and making it tough for KUAI Man to calibrate her counters.
And she's beginning to look irresistible now. SUN Yingsha pounding another unreturnable shot.
Time out.
And piling the pressure on the 21-year-old who towels down, who desperately tries to recompose and has to come up with something in this break. Otherwise, she's going to be a runner-up here in Singapore. KUAI Man has tried all she can, including that top spin, 128 revolutions there. But she's in a spin against the best women's player in the world right now. And SUN Yingsha is in a position in potentially the final game of this final now, from which she might just ease to a victory. 3-love up, 3 games to 1 she leads. And wouldn't most of the fans in here absolutely love that? Back off the break, back with a point. KUAI Man's call for timeout. Looks as if it was the smart play, at least for now.
They didn't have a choice really there, KUAI Man. An attempt to just delay SUN Yingsha from the seemingly inevitable, but still a chance, as you say. Bit of tactical introduction, perhaps, but we still haven't seen so many changes from KUAI Man in terms of her approach, service-wise.
She's been so adaptable. Of course, playing doubles has helped that, but has she been shackled by a game plan or just bettered by SUN Yingsha here?
1-4.
She's been bettered. Fair and square so far. Saw her there trying to serve with no spin at all. Let's see if she does it again. She does. Ooh.
4-2.
That had vigor to it. Venom, that switch.
She's been on this table, this showpiece, Infinity Arena table, so much this week in different competitions, but she's somehow got to find something. She's serving at 40.4 is KUAI Man, and that's in direct contrast there. 17% better SUN Yingsha. Just one of the reasons why she's in command here.
5-2.
Just going back to the point I was making there, for KUAI Man, you know, it's taken a bit out of her this week, you can be sure of that. But she's got to find something, because now it has to be all guns blazing if she's going to stay alive.
Yeah, playing for 3 events, mixed doubles with Lin Shidong, women's doubles. Didn't see Wang and Sun playing together. Perhaps now because they're becoming captain and captainess figures in the Chinese national team. And now, you know, KUAI Man, Lin Shidong, the new SUN Yingsha and Wang Chuqin of Team China, if you will.
If you will. She might have something to say about that. Because SUN Yingsha now is so in control of this one. We've been here before. She's been here so many times before. Point after point, ecstatically received by her fans as she moves closer to a smash.
Well, I didn't expect to see a demolition job here, John, but close to it here.
Yeah, close to it. KUAI Man pushed her early on, but over the last 2 games, the gap's widened.
I think KUAI Man had tactics in mind coming into this. Felt like she really had to win the point as early on as she could, and when she realized that wasn't going to happen, she's been a bit intimidated and she's been left as a passenger here. Sun, though, has been at her very, very best. And I think anyone in the world of table tennis is going to have to be if they're going to beat KUAI Man.
5-8.
She's not going down without a fight because she's now pulled back within 3. But it's still such a tall order to even get close now in this game to SUN Yingsha.
9-5.
You just don't reel off runs of 5, 6, 7 points in a row against SUN Yingsha. She doesn't let it happen. And she wants to get this done. It's 5 championship points for the world #1, looking to lift the Singapore smash again.
6-10.
You can never let these moments pass you by, can you, John? We're witnessing greatness here. We're witnessing a legend, and I think a legend in the making. 4 match points remaining for SUN Yingsha.
11-6.
The arm is raised. The noise is deafening. Singapore has a women's singles champion. Again, it's SUN Yingsha. 11-6 in the 5th.
It is electric here in the Infinity Arena. What a women's singles final. Perhaps not as close as many would have expected, but SUN Yingsha going about business in a very, very poker-faced manner here. The utmost respect to KUAI Man shown. She defeated the defending champion, the 21-year-old. But SUN Yingsha is world #1 for a very, very good reason, and it's her 14th WTT senior title, her 3rd Grand Smash title in women's singles. What a match, John.
And what a story. And here's another thought for you. For all the talk about KUAI Man, changing of the guard, crack in the windshield, this woman's 24 years young. She's picked up another Smash women's singles title, that 14th senior WTT title, as you said. And she can just keep on going, keep on winning, and then who knows what her legacy might turn out to be. Shasha at her best. The fans loving it. And as we take a little look there at the commanding way that she got that job done, SUN Yingsha has won here in Singapore, and she's now stepped in front of the camera and the microphone to talk us through it.
Shasha, big congratulations. What a match. With this victory today, it's your second singles at Singapore Smash, your 14th singles WTT title overall. Give us your reflection on today's match and what it means winning titles like Singapore Smash.
先恭喜莎莎，今天的比赛非常精彩。那这也是你第2次摘得了 WTT 新加坡大满贯的女单冠军，这也是你的第14个 WTT 赛事的女单冠军。那首先，请莎莎为我们回顾一下今天的比赛，并且讲一下今天这场胜利对你有怎样的意义。
我觉得确实，首先非常开心吧，能够在新加坡，其实也是第2次拿到大满贯的冠军。当然，我觉得其实今天这场比赛，其实我觉得双方发挥的都非常不错，而且KUAI Man其实我们之间也非常熟悉，然后平时在一起训练也很多，也都是同在秋岛的，所以我们也平时非常了解。所以说，我觉得其实面对今天这场比赛，自己主要还是立足于去拼吧。而且我觉得，就像我昨天说的，KUAI Man其实近期的状态，还有他的整个的这种技战术的水平，其实他现在有非常大的进步。所以说，面对今天这场比赛，自己也是做好了非常困难的准备。所以说，我觉得今天整个的发挥，我觉得还是比较不错吧。
So, first of all, I'm very delighted to have won my second WTT Singapore Smash women's singles title. I think both of us did a great job on the court today. KUAI Man and I are very familiar with each other. We train together a lot, and we're both under the supervision of Coach Chiu, so we know each other pretty well. I approached the match today ready to give it my everything. Like I said yesterday, KUAI Man has been in great form recently. She has made a lot of improvements in her techniques and tactics, so I went into today's match well prepared for tough challenges, and I think I performed pretty well on the court.
Yes, you did perform very well. You are a very hard worker. You don't do a lot of celebrations or give yourself a lot of credit, but your fans are so supportive. So give us 2 last comments about, firstly, your fans, and can you share with us how you might celebrate tonight?
莎莎的确今天发挥得非常出色。那我们知道你一直是一位非常努力的球员，但是你好像庆祝自己的结果却并不是那么多。所以今天有非常多的球迷朋友到场支持你。我们首先想了解一下你想要对球迷朋友们说些什么。另外就是今天晚上回去了，打算怎么样庆祝一下呢？
我觉得首先确实非常感谢大家能够来到新加坡来支持自己喜爱的球员，当然也在现场为我加油。而且我觉得其实今天这场比赛，我觉得也给大家呈现了非常精彩的对抗。然后当然，但我觉得庆祝，我觉得回去好好休息吧。确实打了1周的时间了，我觉得还是确实稍微有点累。我觉得还是好好休息，然后明天就要回北京了。然后也非常再次感谢大家吧 ，Thank you everyone。
I would like to thank you all for coming to Singapore to support your favorite players here, me included. Well, I think today's match we demonstrated great level of confrontation to you, but rather than celebration, I think I'll make sure I rest well because I've been competing for 1 week and I'm a bit of tired right now. So I would like to rest well because we are returning to Beijing tomorrow. But once again, thank you all very much.
Shasha, there's a reason you are #1 in the world. Enjoy your rest, and we can't wait to see you again. Congratulations.
那莎莎不愧是世界第1名的女单选手，希望你好好休息，期待你接下来的表现。
Thank you.
Classic Shasha. Iggy Jovanovic there, of course, asking the questions as ever down table side. And she is so self-effacing, so professional. Rest up tonight, she says. But before that, she delights her fans even more, firing those coveted sign balls into the crowd. We've seen it before, we've heard it before from her. She's just a consummate pro, isn't she?
She is. There's a nobility, a humility to SUN Yingsha. For her, it's not about being #1 in the world. It's not about winning every event. It's just about making those that have helped her become the player that she is proud. And she's done exactly that here to win her 3rd Smash title in women's singles.
So she wins and will be building up soon to the presentation of the trophy. Yet again, the coronation of the Queen, Shasha. So it's a 2nd Singapore smash, a 3rd smash for the remarkable SUN Yingsha, who seems able to rise to any challenge. We saw it in an epic semi-final encounter. She found a way, and then confronted by the rising force in the world of women's table tennis, she delighted her fans. She wrote another chapter in her extraordinary personal history, and she once again has reigned supreme here in Singapore. So adulation, which follows her everywhere she goes. And now it's time for her to receive the spoils, the rewards for her fabulous efforts.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for the trophy presentation for the Singapore Smash 2025 Women's Singles Finals. Please welcome our distinguished guest for the ceremony, Mr. Liu Guoliang, World Table Tennis Board Chair. Mr. Kon Yin Tong, a Sports Singapore Chairman. And Mr. Sun Min-sin, Deputy President of Singapore Table Tennis Association. And we'd now like to invite our match officials with a token of appreciation for all the work that they've done, not just for the final, but all through the tournament. And it will be awarded by Mr. Sun Min-sin. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for your match officials, Ingrid Borggren from Sweden and Nico Zorn from Germany. Congratulations, Ms. Borggren and Mr. Zorn, on a job well done, and thank you, Mr. Sun. Now, they've shown tremendous spirit and put up a great fight tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your Singapore Smash 2025 Women's Singles Finalists from China, KUAI Man. And may we now invite Mr. Kon Yin Tong to present the finalist trophies. Thank you, Mr. Kon and KUAI Man. And now, your Singapore Smash 2025 Women's Singles Champion from China, SUN Yingsha. And may we now invite Mr. Liu Guoliang to present the Champions Trophy. And let us now invite our finalists and presenters back on stage for a group photo. Thank you to all our presenters for this ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you